Hello, welcome to the first in my series of ladder games. Let's take a look at this kingdom here. We've got Pilgrim, Root Cellar, which gives you some debt, Daimyo, which lets you do a throne room effect but costs a bunch of debt. We also have Harsh Winter. When you gain a card on your hand, if there's debt on his pile, take it. And Fawning, when you gain a province, gain a Fawning card. So there's some interesting stuff going on here. There's no alt VP, it looks like. So I'm looking at potentially opening with some trashing. I think Sailor's probably some pretty good trashing, so we're going to open with Sailor. Sailor Gear, maybe. I find it difficult to think we're going to get Peasants through, but maybe plus action on Gear is good. So maybe we want to open Sailor Peasant and just try to get a Peasant down the line. My opponent has taken the same idea. The Omen is Mountain Shrine. So that's interesting. My opponent hit a nice early 5. I think I don't need. I think I guess you do want 2 gears, or two sailors typically. Pilgrim is going to be good with plus actions for sure. I'm gonna just take a second sailor. There is a world where I want to get a militia, but it doesn't seem super necessary. So I think I just trash. Plus 2 coins and you may gain. Okay, so I want to play the gear, but I drew 3, which is unfortunate. But my sailor's coming into play. My opponent feels a couple turns ahead, sadly. This is 6 and 2 buys. I think I do want to get a second gear and a root cellar. No, the debt is just too much. Second gear and a silver, maybe? Seems reasonable. I'm going to have some things to use soon. And a silver. And I will gain a soldier. This is a somewhat unfortunate draw. Maybe I go ahead and get a mountain shrine. Just take the debt. I have plenty of just quite terminal limited right now. So, okay. And Fawning is Peasant. So that's going to be annoying. We're going to have a ton of Peasants later on in the game. I think I'm just going to load up on gears, to be honest. They can't be that bad. I'll discard this estate. And I think I'm doing okay here. Need to get some more non-terminals for sure. But because I have this sailor in play, I'm going to buy the gear and play it and set those both aside. So we have a big turn coming up, and we'll gain a sailor here. And yeah, I mean, I can continue to buy gears, I think, every turn. I think the plan is to get teacher plus action on gear. So I just play the sailors, get the gears in play, and use the gears to smooth any kind of terminal collision I get from that, which seems pretty reasonable to me. Gears are just going to be a really strong card, and I can set them aside as such, and gain myself a fugitive now. And I've got some stuff in play. I can smooth collisions. I'm not sure if I'm going to want to disciple a gear because it keeps the disciple out of play, but it's probably not the end of the world for me to do that. My opponent has a bunch of daimyos. Why did they afford them? All the silvers, I guess. I have a sailor coming into play. Yeah, so I guess I need to get myself a daimyo, huh? We'll trash that. And we will set those aside. And we will grab ourselves a daimyo. Daimyo lets us replay Disciple, lets us replay Gear, potentially, which is probably fine. But I don't know. Maybe I just get a Pilgrim. My terminal space is so bad, I guess, that maybe I just get a Falconer. Feels a little dirty. Yeah, my guy has missed the shuffle, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Play Sailor, we play Soldier, and now we buy a gear and play it to set aside a couple of things, smooth out our terminal collisions, get our next travelers up and running, and think that we are doing okay here. I will swap you out for another gear, I suppose. Is there a world where I get a root cellar? I don't think so. The debt is just so painful. Daimyo, yeah, Disciple Daimyo seems nice. It lets you replay a bunch of cards. My opponent does seem to be ahead a couple of turns with their discipling. So I am not sure exactly if I did something wrong or just the stuff missed the shuffle early on. They hit this 5 for a trading post really early. And my Peasant missed the shuffle. So this was just a sort of worst possible case draw for me. I still like that I have all these gears, but my opponent's going to have all these daimyos. And Disciple Daimyo does seem like, because it's so expensive, it's a 6. And does seem like something I need to pick up now. So luckily I have Cellar gear, Falconer. I've got a bunch of stuff set aside, but it seems like my opponent's getting a couple turns ahead. And I guess that's to be expected given I had the worst case shuffle and they had the best case shuffle in their first shuffle. Is that true? Seems true, but people can comment if they disagree. So yeah, a little bit painful. They're gaining a province, Pilgrim, Peasant. Yeah, they're gaining a bunch of stuff. They're gonna have a teacher down. And yeah, mostly we just expect them to be 2 turns ahead. I think my estates are gone. I think it's worth it to just do this with Cellar. And we'll go ahead and get ourselves a Daimyo now. And they have their own Falconer. And I'm mostly paying off the debt, and I've set aside a bunch of stuff with that. And it looks like my Disciple has missed the shuffle. So I'm pretty close to resigning this game here on turn 12. I don't think there was much that I could do if my opening buy is going to miss the shuffle. Both of them, it looks like, on turn 3. Is that correct? They hit Peasant, and turn 4, they opened with Peasant Cellar. So Cellar also missed the shuffle, but... and even my Disciple missed the shuffle. I think I do now even want a second Daimyo, just so I have something I can Disciple next turn, hopefully. And if they buy a Falconer, I may Falcon something. What can I Falcon? Root Cellar. So much debt, but maybe I don't mind. It's really the only thing I can gain that's reasonable, I think, at this point, unless I want to Disciple a Cellar. Just to thin coppers, but my opponent's drawing their whole deck here and already has 3 provinces. Yeah, I'm just gonna gain a silver, I guess. I'm probably gonna get Militia here and have to discard 2 cards. Yes, they're getting their teacher down before I've even seen my Disciple once. And I don't really think there's a way around that, which is unfortunate. So Daimyo did a little bit here. I don't think it did a ton. And Fawning didn't really do much. None of us played Harsh Winter, so I guess I'm discipling the Fugitive, which is the saddest thing one can do. And we will just set aside coppers. So let's just play double gear. I guess I'm going to play double Cellar, and then Daimyo double gear. And end my shuffle. I guess I went to set aside 2 and then just draw. Discard pile's fairly small. And not really much else to take. I guess we take 1 silver. We gain a teacher and a Disciple, and hopefully we can get our teacher down. I do have a lot of stuff set aside with gear, so I'm going to have a very big turn next turn. I guess all my Daimyos are staying out of the shuffle. That's worth noting as a thing that happens. And yeah, they're trashing cards with Cellar. They're trashing, the trading post Cellar. That is an interaction I did not, so that's important to note. Cellar has the secondary interaction. Starting next turn +2, you may trash a card from hand. Trading post. So they had 5 sailors in play from last turn. I did not realize how many sailors they had in play. That's a lot of payload, actually. And they don't actually need to pay it off. So they'll have this big turn here, and then I will probably just go ahead and resign after my next turn, which seems reasonable. Yeah, I don't really think there's much for me to do here in this game. I was behind 2 turns by turn 5, and then it got worse from there. And they were able to speed up with the trading post, so it was nicely done by my opponent. I'll just get a sailor. Yeah, they're gonna get 5 provinces to my my 6 provinces to my 0, which really is just like 3 turns ahead. It's not, and I won't trash, and I won't trash. I kind of do have to disciple sailor here, so I can get some actions. My opponent's doing some things. I'll set those aside. Play the teacher, we'll buy 1 province, and go ahead and resign here. If I can find the resign button. Good game. So let's take a look at this kingdom again. If there's an easy way to do that. Well, the biggest thing, I think, the Daimyo had a little bit of an effect here. Trading post had a little bit of an effect in terms of the prophecy. We didn't do that at all. So that's not really something that we need to spend too much time thinking about. I think the biggest thing is just this was just a case of, I think I had the worst case shuffle, almost the worst case shuffle in turn 3 and 4, and my opponent had best case. And they just were able to speed up very quickly past what I could do. I think we're both mostly doing the same thing. Maybe I needed to pick up a Daimyo earlier in one of those turns. Maybe when I bought the Falconer, I should have done that. I did win the gear split, which ended up not mattering. My opponent also just had a lot more payload coming from sailors. So picking up sailors and just getting them into play seems useful. And maybe Daimyo plus sailor is a little bit more of a combo than I thought. But trading post, I guess I just never hit 5 until fairly late in the game. When I bought a Falconer, it seemed too late at that point. So I think without that, not much I could have done in that kingdom. So a rough first start to my return to Dominion, but we will play on.